ready to do? I need $10. Who's got $10? Lady, you got $10? Give me $10. Now I'm walking over to this lovely lady, whose name is Nancy Yonan. Nancy's going to give me $10. Everybody see the $10 that Nancy has given me? I have this in my hands. Nancy did not ask why I needed $10. She just willingly said that I had $10 and she gave it to me. I'm going to take that $10 and I'm going to put it in my pocket. Now I'm going to reach into my other pocket and I'm going to pull out a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to go back to Nancy and I'm going to give her this for her $10. Nancy just got a $25 gift certificate for dinner at Walter Payton's Roundhouse in Aurora. The demonstration of this, ladies, is if you unquestionably give, it will come back to you twofold or more. Now I'm going to take Nancy's $10 and I'm going to go over here to Tamara. I'm going to give Tamara this $10 and Tamara's going to give me 12 raffle tickets. Aren't you, Tamara?
I sure am, Bert.
Now I have 12 raffle tickets. Who would like to go home today a richer individual? Okay. You get 3. Who would like to go home today knowing that they did something good for somebody else? You get 3. Who would like to go home today with nothing more than they came with? Thank you for your unconditional love. Who would like me to be able to take something home to my family? Okay, good, I'll keep yours. Ladies and gentlemen, in a matter of moments, seconds even, we're going to walk around, we're going to call tables up quickly. When you come up to the buffet, we're going to ask that you use both sides of the buffet. And if throughout the day or evening, you have not yet had the opportunity to buy one of the $5 coupons, so it's a book of coupons or a leaflet, 20% off Carson's on November 20th. The proceeds from that day will benefit Jason Britka. We get the $5, you get your $5 back. So if before you go to the line, you want to go over and give Tamara $5, we'd appreciate it. If you haven't bought your raffle tickets yet, and you want to go to the table, we'd appreciate it. If before you go to the dinner table, you want to put in one last chance at the silent auction and raise that bid $5, $10, or $20, we'd appreciate it. Because we appreciate the fact, number one, that you are here. And we love you for that. We appreciate the fact that you open up your hearts, your minds, and hopefully your wallets unconditionally. And we appreciate that. And in order to thank you, we want to feed you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call table number 1. Because he can't hear me unless he comes out and stands in front of the speakers. And ask them to go through the buffet line. On that side? I told them to use both sides already. Where were you? Okay. What table over here would like to go first? Who's got money? Well, okay, stand up. Table number 11 is going to give us a donation, and they're going to go first to this side of the buffet. Table number 11, rice. There's people that are hungry. The quicker you go through the buffet line, the faster it will be. And just make the decision easier. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types, 6, 7 different types of salads. We got virgin olives, We have cheese, green beans, rice, potatoes, wonderful baked potatoes, by the way, chicken, spaghetti, braised beef, and for those of you that like it in season, smoked. What's this on the floor? Oh, you know what? Congratulations, you win. It's 2 movie passes to go see a movie. Apparently it fell out of my pocket, which means I'm supposed to give it to the guy who picks it up. All right, I'll be around to decide what tables are going to go next. Any table going up out of turn will be summarily sent to the end of the line. So on behalf of Hannah, welcome.
I met Hannah 4 or 5 years ago when I was going through a horrible divorce. Is there any other kind? And I was in the court system, and all sorts of things were happening that were shocking to me. I never thought that the court system worked the way it does. And I read an article written by Hannah, an opinion piece in one of the local papers, and I thought, wow, she understands. She's writing about me. She knows what I'm going through. So I got in touch with her, and she right away began just supporting me in many different ways, coming to court with me, joining my friends who were doing that, and she helped me with things like health things and vitamins and getting me algae and all the wonderful things that she does. And then very recently, I started a new business, and I'm a single mom, and Hannah helped me even with that. She produced a TV show that's on cable TV now, featuring my new business, which is called Old World Embellishments. And so my partner and I, Becky Brandvik, we were happy to donate several items for the silent auction tonight. And Hannah was even gracious enough to allow me to put cards on all the tables talking about our new website and the launch of our business. So thank you, and I want to thank Hannah for all that she does for all of us. And I'm one of her many recipients of her good things that she does. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. We wanted Barb to have the opportunity to talk, and we would like to have all of our sponsors and people who have donated things have the opportunity to talk. But quite frankly, we want to be done before Christmas. The list of donors is endless. There is a plethora of loving, kind-hearted, generous people on this list. We would encourage you, and I believe it's on the red piece of paper which is on your table or in the program. We encourage you to go through it, and at some point in there I want you to go, ooh, I know that person, or ooh, I know that store. And then sometime over the course of the next couple of months when you're Christmas shopping, we'd like you to go in. And while you're there, mention, thank you for donating to SARET. Some of the other people who have donated today are Cass McGee, and she has a couple of unique items on the table. Cass' husband donated a painting, and she donated a chandelier decorator. Is Cass here? Cass, can you come up and explain to everyone here what a chandelier decorator is? Oh, that's why I couldn't figure it out. Okay, so that's one of those things. Oh, that's it? That's not it. Cass, come up here and explain it to everybody. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where I am actually going to relinquish the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, Cass McGee, one of our generous sponsors and donors.
What I had originally donated is not here tonight, and it's somewhere in Hannah's house. So next year it'll probably be on the table, right, Hannah?
Yes, but I like the one you gave us today.
You like that one better?
Yes.
Okay. Anyhow, what I make are sun catchers, and what's on the table is a crystal sun catcher that you hang in your window and let the light shine through, and then the rainbow reflects on all your walls, and it just gives you a smile or a memory of childhood looking through a prism from maybe science class. But anyhow, that's what I made, and that's what's on the table. So it's not a chandelier necklace, which was the first donation. It is a sun catcher. And my husband is a pastel artist, and he donated one of his original paintings, which is at the end of the table. And he spends the summer traveling the area from Arlington Heights to Peoria, Illinois. We even went to Ann Arbor this year, participating in fine art shows where he sells his original pastels. And this year, he sold 170 pieces of art over the summer, which has enabled me to be more generous with SARET. So anyhow, that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Cass. Where is Charlotte? Anybody here named Charlotte? Is that her, Charlotte? Charlotte, I'm just going to mention this briefly. You don't have to get up. But Charlotte came today, and she didn't bid on anything that I know of. She might have. But just to make sure, she gave us a rather generous donation in cash, and we just want to thank you for that. She just did that here today, and she was able to put it on one of her cards, and we're very, very grateful. Absolutely. Over in the corner, I've mentioned it several times, we were thinking about, after they broke down the buffet table, just to lay it out briefly so everybody can see the beautiful craftsmanship on it. There is a carpet over in the corner, sand-colored carpet, donated by Yonan. And Sandy, where's Sandy?
Nancy.
No, she said Sandy. I figured maybe that was Nancy's sister. Would one of the Yonans like to come up and tell us briefly about the carpet and the history of the family? Okay, you just want me to draw straws, or? It's real simple. Just talk directly into it. And then this is, I'll do for the hearing impaired.
We can't lay this out, but it's really a very pretty rug. My husband's grandfather, like that, okay, came over from Iran in 1906, and it's been handed down 3 or 4 generations. We're on Butterfield, we're down Butterfield, Highlands, 3 blocks east of Ogden. We'd be happy to see you there anytime. This is a very worthy cause, and we wanted to donate to it.
We have one more that Hannah would like to have me talk to you. Christine? What's Christine from? Our Earth? Actually, are we all from Our Earth? Anybody had the fortune of driving here this afternoon about 5 o'clock with the sun getting ready to set and the beautiful autumnal colors? It's gorgeous. Look up at the sky and say, thank you, God. Want to come up and talk? No, you can't come up. When you get a job, come see me. Or if you need a job, come see me. Christine? Christina. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Christina from Old Earth, Our Earth.
First off, I would like to say thank you very much to Hannah for having me here. SARET for inviting myself and my family here. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody, and thank you to SARET. What I wanted to talk to you guys really brief. The name of my company is It's Our Earth, and it's ingenuity and recycling. And what we do is we bring innovative products to the market that are made from recycled material. And I'm going to tell you, briefly about some of our products. This is a product that we manufacture, my husband and myself, and it's called Afterbrew. And what it is, it's an all-purpose fertilizer made with spent coffee grounds. We actually go around and collect the coffee grounds. We dry them and we add other products to them, and we put it all together and we sell it. And we have actually diverted 10 tons of coffee grounds from the landfills. With our family and my kids, it was all because of my kids, actually, the two girls here, Katie and Stephanie. They stand up girls. Here they are. It's all because of them. And these are actually, we sell these at the French markets because we just started the company. And the name of the product is Afterbrew. What a name, right? Anyways. You know what? I don't think I need this because I've got a loud enough mouth. Oh, I do need it? Okay, I guess I do then. Okay. We also, being that we're involved with the spent coffee grounds, we also sell Arabica coffee plants, as you can see. And it takes about 2 to 3 years, and they will produce beans on them. And if you want, you can roast them and go through the whole tedious job of, making your own coffee. We don't do that. We do have them 4 feet tall at the house now with beans on them. We also sell the coffee cup, which actually looks like a plant pot. As you can see, it has the dual purpose. You put your coffee in here, and then once you're done, and you need to once you get ready to repot this, and here you go, you have your own coffee cup, teacup, or hot chocolate. Dual purpose, recycled down, and this is what was made of it. The gutter scoop is used for obviously cleaning your gutters. It's also used to spread salt in the wintertime. It's also used for cleaning out kitty litter boxes. It's used for scooping out pet food, or basically anything you want to use it for, to scoop with. Recycled, made in Bensonville. Here, let me show you this. What this is, it's an all-purpose bag carrier. This item is made out of, it's called the handler. It's made out of 100% polypropylene plastic. It's used for carrying grocery bags, dry cleaning, pet food bags, paint cans, basically anything and everything that has a loop or hook. Also, firewood, bundles of firewood, it will hold up to 500 pounds. This little item here. Made in Bensonville, Illinois. Wait one second. This thing is also the same exact thing as the handler, but this is called the tote sack. The tote sack is actually the same thing, but this is more of a handyman's item here, because this is made with nylon, crushed marble, just anything pretty much that the manufacturer could get his hands on to make this product. Now this will carry up to 1,200 pounds, this product here. And what's really nice about this here is once you have your groceries on it, you give it a little twist and you lay it down in the trunk of your car and your stuff actually stays locked in place. So you're not looking for cans or whatever. That's right. That's my favorite. She loves this. Anyways, this is called the Peekaboo Birdhouse. And this is also made with second generation plastic. Like I said, the hospital trays, basically anything that he can get his hands on with this. And what you do is you stick it on the outside of the window of your house, and then on the inside you put a sheet of paper, and the birds will actually come and build their nest, and then you get to watch it. And then you lift the sheet of paper and you go, peekaboo! Okay, well, anyway. And you can also use suction cups if you don't want to, okay? And I think that's pretty much it, but the only message that I really want to stress here, you guys, that's really, really important is that we are really trying to educate the public and the people out there, even going to different schools and that. We're actually working with big corporations to get them to recycle like the coffee grounds and to allow with the recycling. But you know what? The recycling does not work because we recycle, we reduce, reuse, but it doesn't work if you don't rebuy. Because you know what? If you don't buy from the manufacturer, like I said, the guy that is in Bentonville, or it could be anybody, you know what? They're going to go out of business, and what is the whole point? And the other thing is we don't want these things to be going to the landfills. That's pretty much it. That's our goal here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Christina. Just had a real interesting question. Somebody asked me who I was. Other than Hannah and Tamara, does anybody here know who I am? One would think that if you put 150,000 copies of your picture on the street every single month, somebody would recognize you. But apparently you people don't spend a lot of time in bars. I publish a little magazine in the suburban Chicago area called Suburban Nightlife. I have a fan. We also publish the world's largest karaoke guide, which is called Karaoke Nightlife, and we put on the largest karaoke contest in the world. So that keeps me a little bit busy. So how did I end up here? I haven't a clue. I really don't. I just got a notation. It was in my scheduler, which means somebody had to email it to me, and then somebody had to go to my computer and accept the engagement or the appointment that I was supposed to be here today at 5 o'clock. Now we know Hannah. Matter of fact, we were outside talking with Linda Black and the other gentleman on the table, and we said, if Hannah was an animal in her last life, what would she have been? Tiger. A beaver. Industrious. A wolf. Perseverance. Stamina. We thought about it for quite a while. We realized that if Hannah was an animal, she would be all of them, because she encompasses all things to all people. And if it was not for Hannah, we would not be here. And if it was not for Hannah, there are a lot of people that would not have reaped the benefits of SARET. So Hannah, on behalf of all those people, we thank you. So I say I'm here because we love Hannah, and my wife loves Hannah. So ladies and gentlemen, in order to tell you why you're here this evening specifically, it is with a great deal of personal pride that I have the opportunity to introduce to you Hannah Bernstein.
Boy, I'm blushing. I'm not good with compliments. Two things are for me to do today. I have two assignments for this evening. One is to talk about the year in review for this organization, and the other one is to play a role in this little presentation we're doing about one family that we helped this year, and just look at what goes through, in the process of helping this family. So I'll go to number one, which is a year in a quick review. It's about 2 pages here. Well, as you can see from the emails, we intensified our fundraising, and we've been bugging a lot of people on the email route to help send donations. We usually work on appeals. If some really bad case comes up and there's not enough money in the coffers, we try to see if we can get some funds to help this family, and sometimes it really works. the upshot is that over this past year, we were able to actually gather $35,000 and give that out. 75% of those funds given out were to disabled individuals, disabled either temporarily through breaking a foot or hurting their necks or their backs, pulling discs, and they can't work. They're really, really stuck. The other 25% goes to people who just can't make ends meet. A car breaks down, child support was stopped because of unemployment of a spouse, things like that, where people are living right on the edge here in DuPage County and they just can't meet the cost of living, but they're here. So we're trying, we try to help them. I told you why people need our help, and there's quite a few people here that are involved in this field. I want to acknowledge Melly Howison, who is now working with bridge communities, and what they do is they take about, 200 families? Was it?
We take about 70 right now.
70 families, and what they do is they work with them for 2 years and help them through a crisis and help them save some money. We are beginning to do similar things because some of the people really need more help than a one-time. On the other hand, there's people who really need a one-time assistance. They just need that security deposit. No other agency seems to be able to give out security deposits. When you need to move into an apartment, it's $2,000. Well, if you're making $1,000 or $1,500 a month, you can never save $2,000. And I have had so many calls from people saying the county is willing to pay my rent, but they will not pay my security deposit. And so we had, for example, 40-year-old man, African American, with asthma, heart disease, and a brain tumor. He was 400 pounds. He's got some serious health problems. He only needs to pay $100 for rent, but he needed $1,000 to move to an apartment that had an elevator. He could no longer climb up the 3 stories to get to his apartment. He just was too ill to get up, so he stayed up there all the time. It was like a military operation to get him up and to get him down using the stairs, so he could not. He had to move. He finally found a landlord that would take Section 8, which is why he pays only $100 a month, but he had to find $1,000. So we got a phone call. He was referred by the county to us, and we didn't have $1,000. And the clock was ticking. There was about 2 weeks to raise the money. I called Hinsdale Community Service. I called the county. I called everywhere. No, he doesn't qualify. We don't do security deposits. End of story. So there we were, SARET, trying to help him out. Well, I sent an appeal, and one of the women that we will be acknowledging, Elsa Toledo, who's not here, she's at a class reunion, sent a check for $1,000. And the problem was solved. Just like that. And Elsa is another remarkable woman who was a single mom. She just worked very hard, and she worked in the banking field, and she just climbed higher and higher, and she was a workaholic. And so she was able to reach that point in her life where she could help other people. We have some challenges this year. We definitely intensified our jewelry sale program, and we trained 4, 5, 6 women who needed some extra cash to work with us, and they earned their rent, or they earned a utility bill or gas vouchers, whatever they needed, through working with us. And then we started in January the beading program, thinking there are so many handicapped women who are shut in at home. They can't go anywhere, they can't work. Maybe they could make $10 a necklace and make 10 necklaces a week. That will pay a couple of utility bills. So we started the beading program, and Bunny Holmes' daughter came and taught us how to bead. There was about 5 of us, and we had a blast. Carrie, did we have a blast? we didn't have too many beads at the time, but whatever we could use, we made some beautiful stuff. In fact, Georgianne sold a necklace she made that week to Patty Sawyer, who I think is not here. She sold a necklace and she just fell in love with it. So that was the beginning of the beading program, but we found out that beads are very expensive, even when you buy them wholesale. So I looked at the numbers and I found out that we purchased $18,000 worth of jewelry, but we sold $24,000. So actually we only made a profit of $6,000. The other $28,000 came from donations. So actually there was a lot of work involved in the beading program and in the jewelry selling. And believe me, going to the French market, sometimes it's hot. And yesterday it was very cold and it was quite miserable. And you can't sell, but you've paid your rent and you have to be there. So we are beginning to think about other ways to make money. If we do the jewelry, we really need to get the jewelry out to homes, not to the French market so much. And we want to get people to bring 10 friends in once a year to do a little jewelry party for us. So think about that, and we'll try to get someone to coordinate that project. Then we are going to try taking advantage of other little things like Wild Oats. They have a community day where we go out there and sit, and I think they give us 5% if people go in and take some coupons or something. We are trying to help this little boy with a brain tumor. We just don't have the funds. So I went to Lincoln School, where I have 2 teachers who love SARET, and we sold about $500 worth of stuff. We paid the lady who helped us for her time. She's a mother who needs rent assistance, and then we gave $200 to Jason towards the rent. We're now doing the Carson, which you heard about the Carson, a community day, which is their biggest sale of the year. And all schools, churches, everybody uses that coupon on the 20th to show up at Carson's. So we're trying to isolate this particular project just for Jason, because Jason's mom can't work right now. He is going through very radical chemo and he is not feeling good, as you can imagine. The first treatment was okay, now he's starting to see what it's all about. And so she has to be there supporting him. She had to quit her job. She has no income, is not getting child support, and we want to make sure this kid is juicing, getting vegetables. I called Whole Foods and they said, well, we can only help you one time, Mrs. Bernstein. So, and it's only $50, so $50 gift certificate. So we want to get, to raise some money, some big money for Jason. And I wanted you just to meet his mother. She is a real sweetheart. I've known her for 4 years. And Carrie let me know about what happened to her son. Sherry, do you want to just say hi to us? We haven't gotten into the grants. Now, Jane Heckman, listen carefully. We're not good with grants. And maybe one day we will, because I remember when Dorothy McIntyre, People's Resource Center, figured out she couldn't raise money on her own, she learned how to write grants. And then she was able to build People's Resource Center. But we really want to be not limited by the grants. We want to be able to be our own people to decide who deserves to get assistance, and we don't want to have this thing saying, well, you can't help them because they're not working right now, which is another very serious problem. People cannot get assistance and rent if they just lost their jobs. Go find another job. Well, some people can find a job in a month or 2. Many of them takes them 4, 5, 6 months to find another job. So how are they going to pay their rent if they don't have savings? No one else will help, SARET will. So we need to build that rent assistance fund all the time. Finally, another fundraiser we're doing besides Carson's is the Tupperware. And you know what? I forgot to bring the catalog. No, I brought it, but I don't know where I put it. They are giving us 40% of the sale. So if you like Tupperware, you're missing something from Tupperware, I'll mail you I'll mail you the catalog. And then on November 21st, the day after Carson's, we're having a little bazaar at my house. Barbara Coys will have her stuff, we'll have the jewelry, and we'll have a food company that sells really nice food. And everybody is going to pitch in and help us out a little bit. And it's a great time for people to come and chat, and we have wonderful food, and it's not too cold yet, so. I'm just about to the end here. So just reminding you, Carson's, if you shop at Carson's, Tupperware, if you use Tupperware, and then host a jewelry party if you can, sometime between now and December the 1st, maybe. If you work at a school, bring us into the school system. We are going to go into Lombard, I think, and we're going to do some jewelry sales at Jason's school. But we want to be able to raise $2,000 or $3,000 for the family. So I think that's it in a nutshell. We need board members, and we always need more volunteers. So this is it for SARET for this year.
Exactly what it stands for the people that
Oh, those who don't know the history of SARET, most of you do. Where's little SARET? Here. SARET was SARET was 2 years old. She was my son's age. And she was a real cute little thing. And she was diagnosed with aplastic anemia, and so she went through a very rigorous chemotherapy, and she didn't make it. So she died before she was 3 years old. And there was quite an effort of churches to help the family get to Loyola, help them with rent. That's when I saw the grassroots efforts of people, because there was no agencies at the time to help. And I said to my friend Shirley, I said, you know, we need to do a little memorial for this kid, because there's nothing out there. It was 85, People's Resource were just beginning, PADS was just beginning. There was nothing, no money for poor people. So that's how we started. We started very, very slow, very small, a few $1,000s a year, that's about it. But over the last 5 years, we began to really turn this into a more full-time operation. So that's the story of SARET.
You need to talk again.
Yeah, I have to just introduce the story about the family we're going to talk about today. And I had my speech ready, and I think I'm going to cut it short. I had a really nice story that I'll leave for maybe next year, unrelated to the family. But the upshot of the story was that people with disabilities have a really hard time in this country. There's no acknowledgement for what they're going through. There's a mindset that you have to somehow make it if you live in America. And that works for a lot of people. We like that. But there are people who can't always work when they're sore and in pain. And Yolanda is one of about 4 women this year who called us with neck injuries. Women don't have good muscular systems, I guess. And boy, they twist and they fall, and vertebrae get herniated, and boy, it's painful. Anybody here have back problems? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, there's about 10% of you here. And Yolanda was a woman who never was lazy. She worked 2, 3 jobs all her life. She was working from the time she was Taylor's age. Her parents came from Texas, 5, 6 kids with their father and mom, and they worked the fields, and they made a lot of money, went back down to Texas, and then she got to school during the colder months. And she finally came to Illinois because of a problem. She was stalked by someone, and she had to get out of this situation. And she came to Illinois, the only other state she knew from growing up here a little bit. And she lived here and began working and building herself up. And then she got a job at a hospital and she was doing quite well. She's a hard worker. And some young man was jumping around the corridors and he tripped her as she was walking. And she didn't see it coming and she just fell fast and hard on her knee, elbow, and later on found out a few days later that her neck got hit also. Well, she finally went to the hospital, to the emergency room to complain, to see if she could get some help, but it's the usual physical therapy, no adjustments, no nothing. And downplaying the injury because it happened at the hospital, so the hospital wasn't going to acknowledge that somebody was suffering, in their premises. The end of the story is that they laid her off after 6 months. They gave her less and less hours, and then they laid her off, and she was penniless. She had no money to live on. And some agencies, St. Vince, helped with a couple bills, but it was scratching the surface. And we got a phone call from the Dinosaur Walking Ministry saying, can you help this mom? She really deserves help, but we don't have funds. That was March of last year. We sent an appeal. At that same month, we had a husband and wife. He had severe heart disease. He could not work for several months. They were homeless in a small motel. So I had Yolanda to deal with, and this damn Kathy, and a couple other cases. We had lupus, a woman with lupus who was just recovering. Lupus is 6 months, you're sick, then you're better, and then you're sick again, and you're better. And we raised the money for her rent, $400. And then when she came in to see me, she could hardly move her neck. She was in such pain. So I called Dr. Johnson and said, you need to look at that woman. Could you please see her? I mean, I hate to ask other people to put full-time work into someone, but she was in such pain. I said, if anybody can help her, you can help her. And Dr. Johnson is out of Winfield. He is just a phenomenal chiropractor. He does anybody know him? He uses a very unique adjustment method, very, very gentle, very effective.
Is it real?
Thank you. He began seeing her, and then when I came back from Israel, I said, how is it going? Any improvement? He says, well, it's a hard case. She's had a lot of damage done to her. And he said, and by the way, have you met her daughter? I said, no. He says, well, she's something else. So, very special, he said. I said, well, I'll meet her. And come summer, we started the beading program more intensively. Yolanda started learning how to bead, and she's becoming a master beader. And her daughter, my God, we may have a couple of things that she made over there. Her daughter will sit with us with a little Chihuahua Chicky, would sit on their laps, and they'd bead away and do some of the most intricate designs. And we had a lot of time over the summer with all that beading. My husband, however, will tell you that my dining room table is a disaster right now, and the plan is to clear it up a little bit next week. Anyway, we got to meet Taylor, and she was quite the star at the French market. She would talk to people and chat with them, and then on top of that, we had Chicky, so we had quite a show going. We did sell more during those times that Taylor was there. So anyway, Taylor would like to share her story. We are helping Yolanda, and Yolanda is putting probably about 80 hours of work a month with us. Our truck has come to good use, shipping furniture back and forth and things like that, and beading, doing the French market. She's now the master credit card person here. So Taylor, I want you to come and tell us what happened to your life this past year. Now, her friends will sit here and give us some energetic support. So, stand up for me, I want to introduce you, okay? These two girls don't know her. So, this is Katerina and this is Stefania, who are the instigators of It's Our
earth company. Without them, there wouldn't be a company. And these are Taylor's lovely little friends who are just lovely, lovely girls. What's your name?
Rhoda.
Rhoda is from Lithuania. Her father is now a police officer. They came from some hard times in Lithuania and they're now doing quite well and getting themselves on their feet. This is
Brittany.
And Brittany has a wonderful mother that Yolanda loves, and so they are really kindred spirits, those three girls. And last but not least is Nina, who is my piano pupil, and she is learning a lot of new things today, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. And here's Taylor. She's going to probably read it to you because she can't memorize everything.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for coming to this event this year, and I'm going to start.
Oh, can you stand so quick? We can't see you.
My name is Taylor Mitchell, and I live in Woodridge in a one-bedroom apartment with my mother and our lovely dog Cheeky, a tiny Chihuahua dog who rules over lives. On March 23, 2003, our lives changed in a huge way. My mother came home from work crying with pain. She told me her knee was killing her. She told me that some man at her work was goofing around and tripped her as she was walking from lunch back to work. Prior to that, my mother was working 2 jobs and and was very healthy and strong. Now Mom could only work part-time due to the pain she suffered and had to give up her second job. Now we had hardly any money coming in. Mom was in constant pain all day. Now it was my job to bring all the groceries 3 stories up. I had to do the laundry, fold the clothes, wash the dishes, clean up Cheeky's dish every other day, brush her teeth, give her baths, and take her for walks. I had to wash the bathtub when needed, and I even had to learn to cook. With hardly any money coming in, I had to start thinking of ways to make money. I offered a few people in the neighborhood to wash their car. They would donate about $5 for each car I cleaned. At school, I was constantly worried about Mom and whether things were to get worse or whether things were going to get better, and what would happen to the 2 of us. When the hospital laid my mother off completely, we had no income whatsoever. My mother went to Catholic Charities, but could not get any help. St. Vincent de Paul helped with rent and food. The Downers Grove Walk-in Ministry helped with gas vouchers and some jewel gift certificates. We were still not able to meet all the bills, just some of them. In March of 2004, the Downers Grove Walk-in Ministry sent my mother to SARET Charitable Fund. My mother told me that things were going to get better because the organization was going to try to help us get back on our feet. One of the first things SARET did was send my mother to Dr. Johnson, who started treating her once to twice a week for her neck injury. I went with my mother to meet Dr. Johnson and his lovely wife, Leslie. She taught me how to do quantum touch, and I started to use it on my mother. In the summer, my mother took me to Hannah's house, and I began to learn how to bead necklaces and bracelets, which I love to do. That was a lot of fun. I discovered how to blend colors and fit bracelets to moods you are in. Also match them to the season. I tend to like the blues and purples, the darker colors. I began helping my mother help SARET at the French markets. We spent many hours during the summer in Glen Ellen, Wheaton, and Elmhurst. I enjoyed talking to people and selling joy, making people happy. Our work has made it possible for SARET to help us pay the rent and some utility bills. But right now, because Mom could not get any help from public aid to at least cover food, we have still suffered that, and Mom can't pay all the bills. And we have been short on food, and SARET can't provide everything. They have tried to give Mom fresh vegetables, eggs, meat, and fish every week to keep us going. The food pantries give us food once a month. That's just not enough. I can no longer enjoy ordered pizza from Pizza Hut or Chinese buffet. We just can't afford that. We have had to eat a lot of canned food. Sadly, I don't like baked beans. Even though SARET was helping my mother with rent, it bothers me that I live in such a small apartment. We don't have enough room. This year, I had no school supplies, so SARET paid for that. SARET also arranged for us to see a wonderful doctor named Dr. Pauline Harding, who gave me a free physical. We can't afford TV service, so we only get a couple of channels. I can't buy clothes, so we have to find clothes pantries. I could not get new gym shoes this year. My mother enrolled me at free lunch in school and gave us a bologna sandwich for lunch. That is it. No vegetables, no juice. I have felt very powerless this past year. I would love to join dance classes and things like that, but I can't afford to. I love computers, but don't have one yet. We hope to get one through People's Resource Center. I can't go to the mall or the movies anymore with my friends because I have no spending money. I have had a couple of birthdays I did go to because I made some bracelets through SARET and SARET packaged them for me in a nice little box. Otherwise, I would have refused to go to the birthday party without a gift. I have designed about 20 bracelets for SARET. And I'd also like to thank everyone who has helped us through our hard times, especially Dr. Johnson and Leslie, also a wonderful woman which we've grown to know and love, Hannah Bernstein. I'd like to say a little more of my speech. And when I grow up, I will remember these three people and keep them close to my heart. I have also learned so much from them. When I grow up, I will help people in need like us. I pray to God and thank Him for sending Hannah in our lives. And anybody who has helped us.
Everybody take a deep breath. Taylor, thank you. This is why we gather once a year. Not only to give, but to share and to be reminded of why we give. I believe there's someone else that has yet to talk. I didn't bring my clipboard with me, but I believe it's a doctor. Is that right? Dr. Johnson? Okay, good. Is Dr. Johnson here? Dr. Johnson, if you would please step forward while we all recompose ourselves and give us your perspective on what we've been witnessing. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Johnson.
That's a tough act to follow. Reminds me of one of my many mentors, Dr. Hannah Kroger. See, these Hannahs, they touch your heart. Anyhow, Hannah told me a story about Mother Teresa. And these reporters were in Calcutta, and this one said to her, well, so you've saved a couple hundred lives, so what? She looked at him, and she looked at the others, and she said, you saved 200, you saved 200, you saved 200, that'll be something, won't it? Have you done your job? Well, I think Hannah is our Mother Teresa. You touched my heart. Our moderator said it, you know, you got to get composed. The three things that I learned years ago, and I won't tell you how many, but when I first started in my field, was, I call it the 3 C's. In fact, I was raised during the period when they had the 3C camps. How many of you can remember that? Well, it's concern, cooperation, and compassion. Most people come to see me because they have pain. They don't come to me because they feel good. And I've dealt with a lot of pain over the years. And all I have to do is show concern, and it's not hard to when somebody's really in pain. And then the second thing, I need their cooperation. I can't help them unless they make themselves present to me. I work with my hands. That's what chiropractic means, practice by hand, which is a great privilege. And the third thing is compassion. And if I had retired when I should have, I would have never met Hannah. I wouldn't be here tonight. So I'm really pleased that I'm here tonight. I thank all of you for coming and for your compassion. I can't talk about a specific patient because of the new HEPA rules, but I can paint you a picture, and you'll know what I'm talking about. And I can distill down what I've learned over 50 some odd years in dealing with people's pain. And if I were to trip off of here and land flat on my face and didn't expect to, do you think I might get injured? Well, you don't know the force of gravity until you trip or slip, and all of a sudden you have no control. And what do we usually do? We go like this. We try to protect our fall with our hands and our knees if we're going backwards instead of spread eagle. And fortunately I learned a judo fall when I was in wrestling in high school, so you learn to let your body go and let every part of you absorb the impact. Well, when somebody is tripped, shoved, and falls unexpectedly, the impact is to the entire system. And the one thing that I have noticed for people who have had injuries that may have been quite well and very strong and resilient is it triggers off a serial, what I call sequence of things that they never even knew about. Now, some years ago, one of my mentors told me that we store in our DNA viruses, and they pretend they're chromosomes. And so one of the things I've discerned is that a sudden injury may release those viruses that can be potentially hazardous to our well-being, and particularly in the nervous system and the spinal cord. Now, I haven't got any data on this, but I've had enough clinical experience that I've seen what seemed like a minor injury trigger off a whole series of health problems, and particularly when it comes to the spine. Now, you've known somebody that an elderly person that fell and broke a hip, or a hip broke and they fell, and they didn't last too long after that. And you wonder, why would that fracture trigger off this whole sequence? Well, I think it's along with this theory that I have about releasing things that are stored in the body that are a health hazard. And somebody says, are you really hurt? Well, if you're cut or you have swelling or inflammation, then you know you're hurt. But then weeks later, these things develop. And then you become to where you can't get out of bed, and it's hard to move around, and anything you do seems to aggravate the problem, and on it goes. And so, the one thing I learned early on, I remember when I was interning, I thought, all I have to do is set these bones, and that person walks out of this office, and I'm a miracle worker. Well, I learned very quickly that didn't happen. And I know I've heard this over the years that chiropractors keep having people come back over and over and over again. Well, you know, it's not like drilling a tooth and filling it, you know, and saying that's it. We're working with the most delicate part of the body, the human spine and nervous system. And so it's very complex. There's a lot we don't know about it. So it takes time. And the reason that people that go to doctors are called patients is because you have to exercise patience. And the doctors don't heal you. What do you think heals you? It's your white blood cells. These tiny little things that are floating around in your bloodstream. That tiny part of your body called the immune system. All the repair is done by the white blood cells. And now, we doctors either enable that to happen or interfere, no matter what we do. So we have to support the immune system. And what coordinates that? The nervous system and the hormonal system and so on. So let's visualize a patient or somebody that had an injury and had all the series of things develop, and then they're in excruciating pain, and then they don't know where they're going to live if they can stay where they are, and superimpose that on this physical condition, and what do you have? More and more pain. Now, I could take any young athlete in here that's in top physical form in the morning, put a tack in his shoe that kind of irritates the bottom of his foot. By the end of the day, he will not be the same person he was in the morning. He can't react to people the same way. He can't react to stress situations like he could have before, because that constant irritation, that inflammation is tugging at his psyche all day long. Now, who in here has never experienced excruciating pain? Let me see a show of hands. I don't see anybody in here that hasn't had excruciating pain. Well, have you had it for more than a day, a week, a month, a year? Think what that does to who you think you are. And then, let's say you start thinking, well, did I do something to deserve this? Well, no, you didn't. You know, God doesn't make you hurt. He designed you so you would heal. So our Creator doesn't punish us with pain. And so, you're in a situation where you have a child, and you're the only breadwinner, and you can't provide for that. How inadequate can you feel? I've raised 5 children. I have 4 grandsons, 2 granddaughters, and 1 great-granddaughter. Well, when you go through that, and I'm on my third wife, and that's the last one. And stand up, Leslie. So I've gone through a little pain. But I finally arrived. Finally got it right. Well, Leslie and I are a team. And one of the things that Leslie has more than I have is great compassion. And I have to thank her for the love she extended to all my patients that she meets, but particularly to Taylor and Yolanda. She reached out to them with her heart. And it touched my heart. Now, we want to get on with the dancing here tonight and entertainment. And what I want to do at this moment in time, from my heart, is to tell you, Hannah, you know, I don't let anybody call me Dr. Bill because nobody likes a Dr. Bill. So inadvertently I put Paw Johnson on my first label, and somebody said, "Is that doctor or is that Paw?" And I said, well, maybe I better go out and make a new one. So I got a different label than anybody else. But anyhow, from my heart, my compassion, take that Dr. Bill, cover my expense, take 50% off of that, and give it to whoever needs it, particularly that boy with the brain tumor. Would you do that? I thank you.
Well, Dr. Johnson, I thank you for your explanation, your words, and particularly your donation. Very generous. Okay, I'm going to do something that most of you know will probably get me ostracized in several circles. I'm going to change Hannah's program here a little bit because we have to make some adjustments. First thing we're going to do is we have a dance troupe from Fermilab who's going to come in and show us how to do some folk dancing. And they're going to put on a demonstration as well. Second, we got a table over here full of things that are just not quite been on enough. We're going to give you 15 minutes to rush up here and make sure that your bid is where you want it to be so that you get what you want. And then as soon as we finish with that 15 minutes, the dance troupe should be ready to go, and we can tabulate and call up all the winners over there. And then we have this table to give away as well. Which means, and I think if we counted them earlier, there was 45 baskets and like 3 or 4 baskets per table. But only if you have your tickets. How many people have their tickets? Okay, everybody should have their hands up. Who does not have their raffle tickets? Who's got an extra $10 in their pocket they want to get rid of it right now? Somebody's got to hit, trust me, you're going to want to say right now, you have an extra $10 in your pocket? Would you go over and see Tamara? Because while you go see Tamara, I'm going to look at my pocket where I've always got something. And I got a couple of passes here to Circle Theater in Franklin Park. And they're good for any production that you would like to go to. Okay, so that's for you. By the way, Tamara told me that.
All the way for the dance.
Hi, my name is Beatty Newfield, and I am here with 5 of my friends from our dance group, which is known as the Fermilab International Folk Dancers. We've been doing international folk dances recreationally, starting at Fermilab. Now we are not actually dancing on the Fermilab site since 9/11. We're now dancing in Geneva, but we have a group that has been meeting weekly for basically 15 years, 16 years, and we've had a performing group that's gone on for about 11 years, and we do these dances from all over the world. Tonight we've been asked to show you some dances specifically from Bulgaria, Macedonia, and Romania, which I have to say are some of my very favorite countries for folk dances, and luckily I've had the chance to visit both Bulgaria and Romania. I know Doug in our group has also been there, and we were able to get some of these costumes while we were there. So we have some authentic costumes to show you as well tonight. But I think we'd like to start with some dancing. So we're going to start with a Romanian dance, a good high energy thing to get us moving. And we'll start with a Romanian dance called Rustemul. We have a program of about 9 different dances to show you from these countries, and then a lot of easier, more gentle dances that you could join us doing. So don't feel like you necessarily have to put out the kind of energy we're going to hopefully put out for you when you start dancing with us. We'll start though with a program of several dances from Romania. The first one is called Rustemul.
Do a sound check first.
We're going to check the music, and I will hand this microphone back to somebody who should get it, and we can use ours.
Okay, can you hear me without the microphone? Yeah. Should I take the microphone? All right. I will just ask you to listen. That way, hopefully you will hear my voice but not the panting in between. Which might, magnified with the microphone, is not so good. All right, the next dance, we have chosen to put a slightly slower dance in next. This one is quite interesting because it is done by a Romanian Romance language speaking people who went away from Romania in early times throughout the Balkans. So these groups known as the Aruma, or the A-Romanians, are also known as the Blocs. They're groups within Macedonia and Bulgaria in the Balkans who are of Romanian origin. They've tended to be off in isolated areas in the mountains, and this dance called gaida, which is in fact the word in Bulgarian that means bagpipe, is a dance of old men. It's a slow, sort of heavy dance that old shepherds would do. you, I find that music absolutely haunting. Some of the dances and some of the dancing I do, much of the dancing I do, I have to say, is because I adore the music. These countries, Bulgaria and Macedonia and Romania, have some absolutely gorgeous music, fascinatingly interesting music as well. The next dance is another Romanian dance. This is from the area of Oltenia, which is one of the areas within Romania towards the south. And the name of the dance is Floricica Olteniasca. It's fast, energetic. I think it's a typical men's dance, but we women in liberated America are not going to keep that from letting us do it. But normally it would be done with the high knees and a lot of energy that often you wouldn't see in the women's dances, which tend to be a little lower to the ground because of the costumes. And the music for this one is particularly interesting. I think you'll recognize perhaps the instrument, not something we often hear. It's done on a jaw harp. And there is actually in Chicago probably the only person in this country who can actually play this live. We had him play for us at the Fox Valley Folk Festival a couple of years ago when we did this. Real interesting piece of music. So I hope you enjoy this. This is Floricica Olteniasca. Don't be surprised, after the first part there's a brief hesitation and then it goes on to something even more exciting. Keep it up. I'm getting in the middle. Just have to Jenny. Thank you. It's one of our favorite dances. While we're catching our breaths, let me mention a little bit about our costumes, because one of us is lucky enough to have both Romanian and Bulgarian costumes. So I encouraged him to wear them both, which means we need to take a good look at Doug's gorgeous Romanian finery before the next two dances are over and he changes. He bought these in Romania how many years ago?
4 years ago.
4 years ago, and you can't see maybe from where you are, but there's beautiful beadwork. Not just embroidery, but actual beadwork up at the collar of this.
The collar's all fully
shirt.
This is real, just traditional embroidery. This is fairly modern. It's not a really traditional one. So this is actually sewn on, and the belt is carefully worked. You can't see it from far away, but there's detailed tooling over the whole belt. Little pockets, all kinds of neat things in the traditional belt.
And the other Romanian costume here is on Jenny. And this blouse I actually have to admit I got in Romania when I was there, and that was, oh my goodness, 30 years ago. 30 years ago this year, so it's, only 29. Good, it's been a while. And it gets to be one of those heirlooms in the family. The aprons came to me more recently, but this is very much the style of one of the areas of Romania. And of course, these countries are so rich in folklore and in costumes that each tiny little geographic area has its own. So we're really giving you only a very small sampling. And if you went to Romania, you would see many other costumes quite varied from even this idea. Okay, we have one more Romanian dance to show you, and it's a women's dance called Joc de Leagăne, a cradle dance, and it was actually done by women holding baskets with their young children in them. The children specifically were older babies. It was a dance that was done to celebrate the fact that your child lived to be 18 months old. It shows you how many problems they had with infant death and medical problems in these traditional areas. It was a cause for celebration if your child lived to be 18 months. That gave them a good chance to go on. This was a moment of celebrating, and this was a special dance in honor of that. So as we do the dance, imagine we are sort of holding and rocking babies in the baskets between us. Start. Macedonia. This one is called Velasichko Oro, and it's very typical of Macedonian dances in that it has a lot of very light, lifty steps. This sort of bounciness is very characteristic of a lot of the Macedonian dances I've seen. It is also in an even rhythm, which is not necessarily characteristic. A lot of the Macedonian dances are in very intricate and uneven rhythms. As are many Bulgarian dances, we'll see some examples of those later. This one is called Velasichko Oro. It was one of the first Macedonian dances brought to this country by Atanas Kolorovsky, who was one of the main teachers from Macedonia who came and made these dances popular in the late 60s, early 70s, which was really the boom time of international folk dancing in this country. So this is an old chestnut for us, an oldie but goodie, Velasichko Oro. I'm told that the steps were so, a lot of lifts because they were shepherds going over rocky ground. So they were watching where they stepped. So, coming up a suite of 4 Bulgarian dances which we've put together. So I'm going to tell you about all of them at once and a little bit about Bulgarian dancing and Bulgarian costumes while Doug goes and changes to his Bulgarian finery. Our first 2 dances in the Bulgarian group are going to be women's dances. So, and there are plenty of Bulgarian men's dances, but for this particular program we thought choosing a few extra women's dances would only be fair. Besides, the Bulgarian women's dance we're going to start with, which is called Reka from Dobruja, is in my mind a dance that shows not only the feminine but also the strength side of women, which is I think a very important point to make. It's a dance that has very decided arm movements. It's a very, like so many dances, the stance is very proud. It's very rhythmic. Dobruzhanska Rega. Dobruja is known for dances that have a lot of stamps in them, and this one, Reka, actually means arm, so it's a dance with a lot of arm movements as well. Dobruja is in the northeast of Bulgaria. The next 2 dances are going to be Rachenitsas. Now, you'll notice if you're aware of music that while Reka is still in our basic 2/4 or 4/4 like the Velasichko Oro, when we get into Rachenitsas, we start getting into those interesting rhythms I mentioned, which are very typical in Macedonia and Bulgaria. Yum bum bum, yum bum bum, yum bum bum. Quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. It's one of the various varieties of what we call 7/8 time or 7/16 time is a Rachenica rhythm. It's a very popular rhythm and popular dance in Bulgaria that you'll find in many different forms. It can be done, it's done as a popular individual dance where people just dance around each other, kind of like we do modern, non-touch dances, couple dancing or whatever, in groups. It can be done in lines, same-sex, mixed sexes in lines. We have a version that we're going to show you first that is called Lazarska Rachenica, which is a women's dance. It was done by the young girls in the spring as part of a springtime celebration. One of those, the earth is starting to grow again, let's get rid of winter, let's celebrate the coming of spring. The girls in certain areas of Bulgaria will wear flowered headdresses, get out their special costumes, and do this on St. Lazarus Day, which is where the name of Lazarska Rachenica comes from. It's the St. Lazarus Day Rachenica that's done for the Lazaruvane Spring Festival. After that, we do our two women's dances, and then Doug will return in his Bulgarian costume, which we can tell you more about later. We'll do a Rachenica for three, which is a choreographed version using various Rachenica steps for a man and two women. And then we'll finish with another dance called Daichevo, which is in 9/8, and is quick, 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 slow, quick, 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 slow, quick, 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 slow. And we will have a dance, very typical of Bulgarian dances. You get a basic step and a whole bunch of variations. And the leader will call a variation, and then the group will say, yes, we'll do it, and we'll do one variation followed by another. You'll hear us doing the calls and for the different variations. The Bulgarian costumes in the bunch are mine and Jeanette's and Carlin's. I can't say precisely where Jeanette's came from because I have to admit that I got it in this country via the internet, but I was awfully happy to be able to acquire it because at the time it fit my daughter, who is now taller than I am. So it doesn't really do for her anymore, but we are very glad to loan it out. It is, I believe, also from the northern part of Bulgaria, but I'm just not sure. This one here I got myself in Bansko, which is in the Pirin Mountains, and the apron I know is particularly typical of Bansko, that area. This one is from, I got it in Sofia at an open market and figured it was the luckiest day of my life when I found this because it was actually on a par with the costume that I'd seen in the Ethnographic Museum that morning. It's from Houstondale, and I am very pleased that I still fit into it. Keep dancing. Since I got it 10 years ago almost. And here's Doug in his costume, which we also got on the same street in Sofia, if I'm remembering right. At the market, and it's also, I believe, from Houstondale, which is in the northern part of Bulgaria. And you change so quickly that you can get to do our women's dances, so you can relax for a minute and get your cuffs done. And we'll start dancing with Dobrzhanska Reka, Lazarska Rachenica, then a Rachenica dance for three, and Daichevo. And then we'll be asking you to dance with us. And then since you're here, if you would like to, that's fine.
the dance. Come and join us and we'll teach you some basic dances and we'll go along as far as you'd like, as much as you'd like.
These really are walking dances. Don't need a lot of instructions, so you can pretty much get up and just follow them and give you that hint of instructions here. That's some idea what to do. We're going to
So
start.
come and join us.
I'll join you.
While you're joining us, let me remind you that we do this every week on Thursdays in Geneva at the American Legion. There's flyers out on the table as you're leaving. Okay, and right, left, right, together, right, in, out, left, again, and right, left, right, together, right, in, out, left, together, left. That whole thing, that's all you're going to do for the whole dance. Okay, pretty soon you'll be talking to your neighbor and gossiping about what's going on in the village. Right. Wait, we'll all start together. Ready to start? Now. And right, left, right, together, right. In, out, left, together, left. Right, left, right, together, right. Out, left, together, left. Left, right,
If you're not dancing and you'd like to use this opportunity to pay for your silent auction items, you can go to the registration table at this time.